If you go to Zahadu, you will die.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coming of Shadows, the Babylon 5 Retrospective. Welcome, welcome. This week, we'll be talking about episode 21, season 2, Comes the Inquisitor. But before we do that, let me introduce my co-host, the man who is the Mr. Chase of the channel. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Good evening, Babylon 5 fans.
Good evening. Good evening. Yes, good evening, everyone. Do we have anything to go over, Cam? Should we jump right into it?
Yeah, I say let's get to it.
Is everybody? Is the chat starting to fill up? It says we got 5 people in here.
We need more.
I see Umbrus in the chat so far. That's it. And of course,
and us.
And us. All right. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe this. Oh, we're down to 4 now. Maybe this isn't that popular an episode. I'm not sure. Hopefully, it's popular.
People well, our guests today, our guest panelists today, are going to tell you why it's excellent.
Why this is an excellent episode. Mm-hmm. And what are your thoughts? Is it you thought it was pretty good? I thought it was interesting.
I'll keep my powder dry on that for the moment.
All right. Let me remind everyone to like and subscribe. That really helps us out with the channel. We really appreciate that. It helps us get seen a little bit because we do want to bring more people into the channel. We would like to, reach as many people as possible. We are currently sitting at about 639 subs stuck there. If you know people who want to sub, you can like on YouTube right now. Just go ahead. And of course, we are now open for super chatting. If anybody wants a super chat, all super chats will be read, provided they're not, somehow untasteful, like racist or something like that. Bonus, if your super chats insult Cam or make him, make a fool of himself, like this one did. You remember that one, Cam?
Oh, yes. It's very painful.
You like that one.
Painful memory.
Painful memories. All right. So remember, Cam says Firefly is the best sci-fi show. I personally think it's Babylon 5, but whatever, different.
Well, I'm starting my Firefly channel and screw this one.
That's right. That's right. So, okay, great. All right. Well, I think we're going to get started anyway.
Bring in the
let's bring in our panel for today. Jason won't be joining us tonight, but we do have our regular co-panelists, Death Angel Shadow, and of course our guest panelist Madman.
Now, let me ask you a question. If Cam goes off, does Jeff get his job?
Yeah. Do I get a raise? I double my salary.
You know what? You're doing such a good job, Jeff. I'm going to double your salary right now.
Okay.
Consider it doubled.
Woohoo!
I hope Cam is not upset about that. He's not upset, but anyway. Yes.
Are you free on Sunday?
Everyone double their salary. Go on.
Okay.
Off you go. There you go.
All right.
Hey,
how about trivia?
Okay. Let's go. Do you guys have anything before we jump into it?
Getting down to the end, man.
Yeah. One episode after this to the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that one 3 times.
3 times,
maybe 4.
All right. Okay, let's. Like I said, I only see everyone must be hiding in the chat. Don't be afraid to yell out when you come in the chat. That's perfectly fine. We like to know who's here. But Umbers is there for sure. He's spoken up. Good to see you. I don't think I have anything else to go over. I think we should just jump right into trivia, right? Let's do it. All right, let me get this set up, and we go right to our trivia questions from last week. The Long Twilight Struggle. Excellent episode, I think. Excellent. What outlawed weapons are used to attack the Narn homeworld?
Mass drivers.
The Narns are sending their entire fleet to attack what planet? How does it's Drawl.
Drawl. It's supposed to be Drawl. Yeah.
D. Describe Sheridan's rebellion. What is Jakar's relationship to Justen? Example: Jakar is Justen's what? Jakar, what is the greatest power in the universe? And of course, the answers are the mass drivers are the weapons they are using to attack the Narn homeworld. The Narns are sending their entire fleet to attack Gorash 7 is the place where apparently the Centauri have all their supplies and logistics. Drawl describes Sheridan's rebellion as the conspiracy of light. Jakar is Justen's nephew. Justen is his uncle.
Yeah.
And do Jakar, what is the greatest power in the universe? The need for freedom. That's right. I agree. Yeah. That makes sense.
Did you change the wording on that?
What?
Number 4. Wasn't I calling you? Yeah, wasn't I calling you out on that? Because you had, Jakar is Justen's. I thought it said Justen was Jakar's. At any rate, doesn't matter.
Jakar is Justen's nephew, or Justen is
Jakar's uncle.
You can say it either way, but I'm just. But that's what it is. Doesn't matter.
Today's education.
Same thing. All right, Jason in the chat. Hey, Jason, good to see you. Oh, you're behind. Oh, catch up. Yeah, catch up.
Yeah, next week's the big one, man.
Dave's here. Greetings from the Narn delegation. The Narn delegation has been having a little rough this last episode, and maybe somewhat this episode.
There's a delegation.
Yeah, it's been very. It's hurting.
I guess you could call that a delegation or a.
They're hurting a little bit.
Congregation or.
Yeah, hurting a little bit.
Some rebel rousers hanging out in the Zocalo and the promenade or the mall or whatever the hell they call it. I still want to call it a promenade because the Zocalo is the bar, right? So.
Yep, they're hiding it. They're hiding out in Quarks. You bet.
Quarks, yeah. Go get a drink at Quarks.
That's right. All right, that's okay. Let's just jump right into the. I think this is a kind of a. It's kind of a discussy episode. I think there's kind of a lot to look at here. James says he liked it. I think there's a lot to talk about. There's some interesting things here. I won't give them away. All right, Cam, go ahead. You want to do the quick summary?
Certainly. Episode 21, season 2, episode 43 overall. Comes the Inquisitor, written by J. Michael Straczynski. Original air date October 25th, 1995 in the United States. And production code 221, so right in order. The Vorlons send an Inquisitor to Babylon 5 to test Sheridan and Delen's readiness to lead the Army of Light. The Narns on board the station begin to challenge Jakar's leadership.
All right. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to do the detailed summary, and just let me remind everyone, the purpose of the detailed summary is not to discuss the episode in detail.
Oh, he's calling me out.
It's just to get everybody online with what happened. All right? I'm going to tell everybody.
I'll be quiet, I promise.
That's right. So Jeff gave me offline a couple days ago. He said, when you do the
don't give away all the
summary,
secrets. Let's release them. Yeah. Okay.
I got to
Go
tell.
ahead.
I'm
Get it done. Get it done. Wrap me out. I get it.
He said you give away too much in there. You should save some for the thing. And I go, yeah, but every time I'm giving it, you're always interrupting me and you're adding more detail to it. So I'm not sure. I think it's a little bit disingenuous to say that. Anyway, the point of the this is just to get everybody online with what happened in the episode. Maybe it's been a while since you saw it, and I'm trying to purposely not say much and we discuss in detail the various parts of it. And Cam usually handles that, and he's pretty good at that. So yeah, just that's all we're doing here. All right, let me jump into it. So Comes the Inquisitor. Starts out with Jakar giving a political speech, basically agitating, right, in Babylon 5, talking to everybody about you'll be next. After the Narn, the rest of the races, the Centauri will go after you, he's suggesting. And then we have a scene with Delin being confronted by Kosh and told that an Inquisitor is going to be sent to be sure about you. And he says, if you survive, unquote. Oh, kind of a little bit interesting. So there's two basic storylines that I see going on here. There's a storyline with Jakar and what he's doing about the war, and now that they've lost it, and then the Inquisitor side. So the Jakar side, very quick. We have a scene where he comes and he meets someone, a Mr. Chase, and basically Mr. Chase sells him weapons. It's obvious Jakar is looking for small arms, light arms, and there's going to be some sort of resistance on the Narn homeworld, I guess. That's interesting. We can talk about that later. Garibaldi confronts Jakar. Somehow he finds out about this, with his weapon smuggling, and then goes to help him, basically help him do it in a sense. We'll talk about that. Jakar is found in the Veer is found in the elevator with Jakar, and they have a little bit of a confrontation. Jakar is challenged by the other Narn. They want proof that he will deliver on his promise to get these weapons to the homeworld. They don't seem to trust him. He says, if I get to one of these Narns, if I get word from your family on the Narn homeworld, will that be enough? They say yes. Jakar goes to see Sheridan about it. Sheridan uses the Rangers and gets the message and appears to solve his problem that way. The Inquisitor side. So Delin goes and talks to Sheridan about about saying that somebody's coming, and I want to just let him through and all that stuff. Sheridan's asking questions. Lanier's there as well. He talks about this person is here to assess doubt or confirm Delin's motivation. So Sheridan is surprised by that. The Inquisitor shows up in a Vorlon transport, which is unusual because this is the only time we've ever seen a Vorlon transport. Kosh has been using it, so everyone on the station's the CNC is a little bit surprised. Sheridan goes out to meet this person. The person is Sebastian. He's a human. He gives some information to Sheridan about himself, and basically he's from Earth, but from like the 1880s. Sheridan asks some pointy questions. He basically tells him he's not ready for the truth, and we'll talk about that too. Then Delin meets the Inquisitor. She is put in these manacles, which shock her, and the Inquisitor goes on to ask her a bunch of questions and seems to not believe anything that she says when she tells him. The main questions he's asking is, who are you? He starts off with, and we'll talk about why that is and what that means and all that good stuff. Hopefully someone knows. Then at some point after she's being tortured a couple times, Lanier runs in to help her. She tells him to go away. He runs off and gets Sheridan. Sheridan comes in to try and help Delin, and then he is basically captured to a sense and also tortured with similar asking questions about him. The situation passes. They are found to be, I guess, pure of heart, however you want to say that. And Sebastian leaves saying that his job is done. All right, and that is basically what happens in the episode. Not much detail in there. We'll talk about it.
Can I unmute myself now?
What? Did you hear anyone hear anything? I didn't hear anything. Did you?
Yeah.
What was that?
All right.
Yeah.
All right, off you go.
I only said one word and I was muted. So see, good thing I muted myself.
Good thing. Cam, take us there.
Okay, as you mentioned, I think we have the two main storylines, the Inquisitor one and then the Jakar Rebellion kind of one. I would like to suggest, if everyone agrees, that we go with the Jakar storylines first.
Yeah.
Does that sound good to everybody?
Yeah, I like
that's
it.
fine.
I was thinking the same.
I think that's a shorter one, but there's some interesting things in there as well.
Yeah. So I'll start out briefly, and then I'll turn it over to you guys. For me, this it seemed like a bit of a throwback for Jakar in his mannerisms. I wouldn't say that they were unreasonable, but in the earlier episodes we saw Jakar, kind of doing this rabble rousing kind of thing, and that's what he's doing here as well. He's trying to drum up support. It struck me as strange because it seems too late for that, and I'm not sure that drawing more attention to it in the way he is makes a lot of sense. You guys might disagree. And then the aspect of the weapons thing, it's like I don't know. It struck me as it's just like he's just kind of falling back into a pattern here and not thinking this out very well. But with that, I'll hand it over to why don't we start with Madman, since he's our guest, and then we'll go right to you, Jeff. Don't worry.
Okay.
And say, so what do you think?
Well, I have to say, with Jakar right now at the moment, the way he's going, if you remember what Mr. Chase had said, and he says, "Oh, you're going for a rebellion that's going on," and that's the point that you have to put to the perspective, is that he's done this before. He has fought. He has fought the Centauri. From a rebellion point of view, onto them, drive them off their planet, and basically, Jakar has to look at this perspective. He was a leading part of the leading party on the planet. Now he is citizen Jakar,
the Kari.
The Kari, and now he has a point that everything's been thrown on top of him. This is from Jakar's point of view, is a guy who has armed other worlds, including knowing that Earth. He's during the Minbari War, the Narn gave weapons to Earth. We know at this point to that, and we're going to hear more of that later on down the line. Exactly what happened with that, but he's wearing a heavy brow. I put it to that point, and you could see it in his eyes, and you could see it how he's mustering up, especially when his own people are questioning. Listen, you were part of the Kari, but prove to us that you are going to, your word is golden with us. You're going to get those arms. You're going to get that food. You're going to get it to our people and protect them, and get us out of from underneath the Centauri. And he's holding a lot right now at the moment. What is to come forward, that we got to wait. But at this moment, he's going through his inquisition, because that's what I consider with this episode, is that there are two inquisitions. One is the Lens, and the other one is Jakar's inquisition, but with his own people.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because we've seen him be challenged before, and this one is much more subdued and reasonable. It's like, can you do this? They weren't like, it wasn't hostile like it was the last time he was challenged. This one seemed to be much more subdued and like I said, reasonable. Jeff, what do you think?
Okay, so first of all, I think it was deliberate, this return to form for Jakar. When we first saw him doing that, of course, this is right after what, I forget how many years it had been that they had been free, but this is probably the first time that they've really been, that the Narn and the Centauri have been together in mixed company since they had gained their freedom. So that was the beginning of the show, right? And so that's why he's preaching from the highest point in the promenade. I can't figure out what else to call it. But as we've seen him progress, and we've seen his authority come into being and whatnot, he needed to do that less. He had other ways of showing his strength. Now his people are broken and defeated, and he's falling back to his original form, as far as proselytizing and preaching the extolling the virtues of freedom. He's the guy shouting in the town square. So I did not find it unusual. I think it's it's almost an exasperation. It's he's trying to keep the word out there. Right? He's doing exactly what he explains that he's doing to the gentleman that walks up to him, or Gentle Narn that walks up to. Anyway, as far as two inquisitions, that's an interesting take on it, Madman. I wonder if it's actually three. Well, obviously, not including Sheridan, because Sheridan and Delenn, I think that whole Inquisition story that we'll get to they're tied together head to hip, perhaps. But I think this may be also somewhat of an Inquisition, not just for Jakar, trying to assert his authority and position of leadership amongst his broken people, but also it's a test of Veer. When Veer is confronted in the elevator,
I see where you get to that, and I sorry to interrupt you on that.
Yeah,
you can say it is, in a way, it is an Inquisition, but
it's an Inquisition in this case. It's a test
hard
of
to
faith.
say, not to give things away, but you can, but it really isn't. And that's what I can say, and we have to wait for season 3 on this.
I again, just the look, and let me put it quite bluntly, Veer and Jakar both put on an excellent,
yes,
emotional display.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of, Veer is kind of kowtowing. It kind of like can't look him in the eye, and he's looking away, and he's kind of, and he even turns his back, and knowing that, of course, he could easily be taken out at any minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
By a Narn, because Veer is certainly not in the best shape compared to some of the others. But Jakar does not
He's
act
in
on it.
a pear shape.
Yeah. He and I are about in the same shape. And Jakar is he's almost, I don't want to say obsequious, because I generally think he's being genuine in that. But in his statement where he says, "I'm sorry," and then he tries to explain, they won't listen. They never listen. I tried to warn them, yada, yada, yada. And of course, Jakar launches into that excellent speech. I mean, where he's, he takes his dagger and slices open his hand through his glove, and his blood is dripping from his hand. He just says, "Dead, dead, dead, dead." And and quite frankly asks, he says, what would how will how will you apologize to all the dead? And of course Veer can't. He's like, I can't. He says, well, then I cannot forgive you. There's no way to apologize to the dead. They're already gone. And I think that was a very emotional point in the tensions between the two peoples, from two people.
It's not only the Narn race itself, and you have to put to the point with Jakar. Jakar lost. We don't even know how many family members, but we know he lost his father to the Centauri, and
Mhm.
just in the last episode, he lost his uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And how much emotion, to the point that they've gone through thick and thin the situations, and he's lost family members because of this, and he's still alive.
And the irony of the Jakar and of the Narns rather being retaken over by their the Centauri,
Mm-hmm.
the glorious Republic. Yeah,
Republic.
you know where I'm going. It kind of almost is reminiscent of current events today. So it's that whole history.
History
Doesn't
repeats.
it doesn't always repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And clearly it's ironic, I think, because we're seeing that in Eastern Europe. So
Okay, well, Snob, what do you have any particular thoughts on the start point of this, at least?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Jeff said earlier. I don't really think it was that unusual. I mean, I think that it's pretty obvious why Jakar. I mean, he's falling back in his old patterns for sure, but he knows, this is something he knows how to do. He was a big rebellious leader of some type during the rebellion early part. Him procuring weapons. I mean, that seems reasonable. I kind of, yeah. Jeff, you said, what did you say? I had the word. When he's giving his little speech there to everyone, he was kind of chagrined. That's the kind of word I used, but I think you're correct as well. He's kind of chagrined that nobody kind of sees what he saw, or they can't come to realize it yet that, hey, you're going to be next.
yeah, he does. We exist. We are still here.
Yeah,
And
and
of
I
course,
think it's a reasonable thing for him to do, to say that, in order to try to make everyone aware of the fact that, hey, you're still there. You can't just forget about us. And he's got to do something.
he has to prevent apathy.
Okay.
Yeah, I sense a little bit of not stubborn, a little bit of he's a little bit worked up about it. He's maybe
Passionate.
he feels a little bit of hopelessness, or some difficulty doing it. Like he's got to do this again, and how am I gonna do this? It might even be harder where he sits in Babylon 5 to affect change on the homeworld than from when he was initially first there, right?
Well, remember to the point, he has no fleet ships. He has no cargo ships or anything in nature that can start some sort of rebellion. He has to be able to try to get the stuff to his people, mind you, which is it's going to be a difficult task in itself, because he's going to have to deal with the non-aligned world. He's going to have to deal with Earth. He's going to have to deal with everything in between,
back channels,
rebels, and stuff like that. And it's not something that they're not going to let arms come through Babylon 5. They're never going to let that happen.
Well, and we'll get to that, I think, pretty quick, won't we?
Okay, this brings me to the next point. So we talked about Jakar going back to form. And again, I don't think it's unreasonable for someone who's desperate, right? It's like, well, what do? You have to do something. You do what you know, right? So I think it's reasonable from that standpoint. However, I think the contrast to them that was shown in two ways in this episode is, what did he do to bolster his credibility? Well, he went to his allies this time, right? He went to Sheridan and asked for help and got it. And so they came through thanks to the Rangers, which I don't think Jakar is aware of the Rangers at this point.
No, probably not.
No, not as of yet.
And we may want to go back to the whole expand upon what happened with Garibaldi. Well, Garibaldi is being Garibaldi, and because that happened like right after that,
right? And that's the other element, is that Garibaldi, being a good cop, found out about this, and then Jeff, do you want to talk about that interaction?
Yeah. So basically, we had seen Jakar and talking to Mr. Chase, I believe his name was. And he kind of looks like a wily, I guess you could say he looks like a typical arms dealer or smuggler, somebody that brokers smuggling type of thing.
Weasel. Looks like a weasel.
He does, yeah, kind of weaselly in that way, and I think that's deliberate too. I think he's played pretty well. But he negotiates with him, and of course, Mr. Chase is sympathetic, and the point is brought up. that when Earth was fighting the Minbari, they the Narn sold arms to Earth, and many of these weapons are weapons that the Narn sold to Earth. That
Same
now,
type of
same type of weapons, possibly even the same weapons. Who knows? But that the price is exorbitant at this point.
weapon. Mhm.
You know, I think we come to learn it was like 500,000 credits that he put down or
Yeah.
whatever, which was a 50%. And that, you know, and the guy says, you know, you don't find this out until later that it's 500,000, but irrelevant. It's the point is it's probably 1 million credits. And he had to put down, you know, a half. And originally the guy, you know, this was the price. And Mr. Chase says, well, you know, I'm sympathetic to your cause. Look, I'll knock 10% off, basically. But Jakar says he'll have to think about it, and he says, well, if I come back tomorrow, it's going to be back to full price.
Yeah.
You know, and he's, of course, you know, he's between a rock and a hard place, and he reluctantly, he's like, okay, I'll deposit 50% in your account and the remaining 50% upon delivery. Come to then the pretty much the next scene from there is Garibaldi confronting Jakar.
Well, I'm sorry. Can I stop for one
Sure,
second?
absolutely. Yeah.
Jakar did have a good moment there with the guy after he agreed, because he's like,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
I
this
did
is
skip that.
a
Yeah.
limited resource, and if you screw us over, you know,
Wa-
Yeah,
what's
he
left?
threatened
we're
that,
talking
right?
about that.
I was gonna say, Madman might have the exact phrase.
No, actually, I don't. I was looking for it right now.
Oh.
I was saying,
Yeah,
it wasn't on my listing.
basically, it comes to, well, they may find your remains.
Yeah,
They will not be able to identify you.
See, I thought that was a good moment for Jakar, because that was him. That, you know, where we were saying he's kind of desperate in other ways. It's like he was using his force of will there, you know,
Yeah.
to be like, okay, you can mess with me on one level, but you know, I can still do this, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Mr. Chase seems to be like he's not like, you know, haha, I don't believe you. He's like, the way he acts is like, yeah, he completely
believes
I
accepts
get
the
it.
fact
I get
that
it.
this
Yeah.
will
Okay.
happen. I'm not going to screw you. I agree. I know about your threat, and I accept that you will be able to do, you know,
Do what you said. Yeah, mano a mano is a very big difference than trying to fight or build a resistance. There's a whole different, you know.
Yeah.
You take So
Anyway, you're going to talk about Garibaldi, right?
yeah, so apparently Garibaldi has gotten word of these, you know, some of these dealings, and he basically lays down the law. He has to. He's the chief lawman on the station, and he tells Jakar that, you know, look, I understand, and Jakar's answer was very eloquent. It was well written. I wish I could quote it verbatim. But to summarize, he basically says that you, what's the best way to put this? When you and I have, you know, I've been on the station long enough, and you and I have known each other long enough that you would not have come to me if you did not already have the evidence. And we could sit here and go back and forth and play this little charade, and ultimately, come out, you know, that this is what's happening. So let's cut to the chase, and what are you gonna do about it? What, you know? And Jakar lays out on lines like, look, I cannot compromise the security of the station. I cannot put the station in jeopardy, and by having these weapons come through Babylon 5. And Jakar agrees. He's, you know, and
well, I wouldn't say he agrees. He accepts it.
he accepts it. He does accept. Yeah, he accepts it. He's and I think deliberately, but he does ask him. He's, you know, once that matter is settled, and of course Garibaldi has expressed, look, I understand your plight, and I don't care what you want to do off world, et cetera, you know. But Jakar just basically comes right out and tells it like it is. He says, "Yep, that we are, we're going to do. We have to. This is for the fight of our people. This is the survival of our race." And once he's basically done that and come to that solemn that agreement that begrudging maybe, but not quite. You know, then Garibaldi hands him a data crystal. Garibaldi's got a friend who he did some favors for previously, probably looked the other way on some stuff that happened. And guy happens to not everything that goes through there on this remote station that happens in Sector 90. That happens to be, because that might be, you never know, it's a trivia question. Might be, it's right near a jump gate and kind of a convenient off the path type of place that might be useful for that. And he'll not charge, no charge. He'll let whatever items that are of questionable legality slip through without any charge. And Jakar looks, after they discuss that, and he hands him the data crystal. He says, "Mr. Garibaldi, why would you do this for me?" And Garibaldi says, "Because you didn't lie to me." So I thought that was pretty powerful. That tells you the type of guy that Garibaldi is. And Jakar, for that matter, when Garibaldi, as long as you're straight with him, he'll try to find a way to help you out.
Yeah, but also you got to remember the people to the point that he'll give you enough leash to hang yourself or to vindicate yourself.
Well, he was getting something out of it too, because he's like, he's like, I need your word that you're not going to bring that through here, because I'm not going to tolerate it, right?
Right.
So seems like an equitable trade.
Well, you're bringing the Narn rebellion right to the front door of Babylon 5.
Right, and we don't need the heat right now because we got something bigger that's cooking, but you don't know about it yet. It's kind of the way it's going, and I think that's what Garibaldi is thinking.
Yeah, I think though that Jakar knows that this would never fly anyway. Londo is going to raise holy hell if he starts to do that, and that's just going to destroy, Sheridan, Garibaldi. They'll have no choice.
And Centauri human relations, for that matter.
Yeah,
and well, he's undercutting his own sanctuary too at that point.
If he does that, yeah.
Right.
So he's got to. He knows. He starts out and he's like, I mean, he hasn't decided to ship them through Babylon 5. Garibaldi cuts him off before he even gets a chance to ship them through Babylon 5. So I don't even think I don't think it's necessarily that he was going to do that per se. He probably realized that, maybe I could do it, maybe I get with it, but it's going to be a big, big problem. And there's no way that, Londo's going to go, there's going to be a big stink. So,
if Earth is being compliant, or Babylon 5 is which is under Earth's control, is found cooperating with this, what would you call it? This rebel group, this rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
That would definitely
freedom
upset.
fighters.
Yeah, freedom fighters. Yeah. Right. Or the T word, depending on how.
Well,
I'm sure that's how the Centauri would describe them.
Well, Londo has described them as terrorists, right?
Yeah.
Now, I would like to bring up an issue from was it 2 episodes ago with where Londo announced basically that any Narn that kills some Centauri is going to have their family killed and 500 500 Narn, and all of these people know that. And Jakar isn't getting strategic weapons; he's getting insurrection weapons, or underground guerrilla weapons, right? Small arms, things like that. These people have to understand that if that's where it's going, I mean, they're delivering, the plan is deliver them to Narn to be presumably used for these reasons. And I'm not saying that there is a moral barrier that they should have to it, but they're under a very heavy threat that, by all appearances, the Centauri are willing to carry out. What do you guys think about that? And that's what I was saying about the strategy, falling back to form. It's like, I'm not sure that's wise at this point. You might want to be a little more strategic.
Well, the question is are they are these armaments going to go? Because the implication that I got is that they would be perhaps dropped on maybe a remote staging area.
Well, I think
You
that
did use the term
that was the
drop
point
ships,
with
not directly onto the. But then with the message getting passed.
yeah, that was the test, right? It was
Yeah.
if you can get communications through, then can you get weapons through?
That's what, in fact, in that conversation that Jakar had with these people that are kind of questioning his ability to do what he says, they say if you can't even get a message to the home world, how can we trust you to be able to get weapons and munitions?
Now, there's an important part in that message, and it's not the message itself. It's not the people itself. Where are they located? Do you know?
Well,
What's the background?
They were on Narn, weren't they?
Yeah.
No, it's not that we're on Narn. Where are they on Narn? You have to watch it carefully. They're in a cavern.
Yeah.
So you could say
I was going to say if I got the impression of like a bunker underground.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing.
So
what you have there,
they are
saying
the
that they're going to a staging area, they're going to drop stuff in, is that there is a portion of the Narn race trying to survive in some sort of bunker caverns beneath the Narn home world, where the Centauri haven't gotten to them yet.
This is akin to in World War II, getting munitions and supplies into the French resistance.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think it's a staging area per se. They're getting, the point is they're going to get small arms to the resistance, to some sort of resistance cell. Now, I mean, you know how many troops it would take to hold a planet? I mean, it depends on the size of it, but
if they're all armed, yeah.
It seems like it's, it'll be difficult for the Centauri. And I know what Cam was getting at with the whole the threat Londo made, but I think that probably I'm guessing, but I suspect that these kind of threats are, what things the Centauri make normally. So the Narn might be used to it. Oh yeah, you're going to kill 500, 1,000, whatever. Like
puffing their chest.
It doesn't matter to us because we don't want to be free. And you've done this before anyway. You've always said we're going to this many or that many, and it doesn't matter how many you say. You're gonna run over us anyway, no matter what. So they don't seem like, I don't think they care that much.
Okay, maybe you've
one
pointed out
or a billion, huh? Doesn't matter.
You've pointed out before that they tend to be a little hot-headed, right? And it's like
the Centauri
puffery. No, the Narn.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, the point is, put a weapon in their hand, they're likely to use it, right? And as at their earliest opportunity. Again, I don't have a moral problem with an oppressed people fighting. So I'm not stating a personal view here. I'm looking at it from the perspective of the show and what's known. Garibaldi's part of it. He's doing this. He's aware of this issue. And it's like, okay, you're a participant in that now. And maybe he thinks it's the right thing, I mean,
yeah. Well, based on the the Centauri, they like to bloviate and make these outrageous claims. I would suggest that they probably would. It's a threat.
It's puffery. It's puffery.
Yeah,
it's
if a Centauri gets killed, are they going to trot out a whole bunch of Narns and shoot them? Probably. Is it going to be 500? Probably not. It's going to be as many as they can get. That's a reasonable number that, to
make a showing,
a show, whatever. But I think the Narns are, 1,000 or 100 years of repression. They kind of know the Centauri are going to make these, really outrageous claims. Will they shoot people? Yeah, they will. But that just means we need to go as fast as possible and
as careful.
We need to put a stop to them, right?
Yeah.
We need to be careful, but we need to put a stop to them. But
okay.
Also these, these things are there's lots of examples in histories of various rebellions where the people running the rebellion are more than happy for their own. The more innocent civilians that are killed, the worse that the other side looks, and that they're the rebels, terrorists, freedom fighters, whatever you want to call it, are more than happy to allow some of their own civilians to be killed so that it looks bad, and then more of the people who the populace will get on their side. Not to be too
Interesting, isn't it? How it's
Not
fresh
to
as
be
today's
too-
headlines.
Yeah, not to be too cynical about it, but I'm sure Jacquard is well aware of this fact. So maybe they don't really, hey, the more
Well, I think it depends on how many of them
Narns you shoot, the better it is for me, because it'll just turn the people against you.
If
faster.
you're like Mao, you're like, oh, what's a few million, of our
Out of a
people?
billion,
we
right?
got a billion, no problem.
Take out the infirm and the weak and the
Right, but I'm not sure how many are left on Narn. I mean, they got bombarded.
Yeah, we don't know
severely.
Yeah.
So I don't, I don't know if they said what the population was, or if they even know at this point.
Wasn't it said in the report? I think they had talked in how many troops were on. Had the Centauri troops had been put on the planet. They have unconfirmed reports of X
them
number of
landing,
troops.
but not how many. I find this whole thing interesting, because the Centauri strike me as they're a somewhat degenerate. Their culture is on the downswing, and I don't think this is going to revive it. It might be a little bit of a blip, but it's not going to revive it. The average Centauri is more happy, living in the decline, fat, drinking wine, whatever they do.
Well,
and
this
then
is
the Narn. Then Jacquard has only recently, within maybe 10 plus years ago or so, been a big rebel leader. So the Narn are still hardened. There's still, there's lots of them that remember the oppression. That's just like, pull out the old notebook and say, yeah, what did we do before? Yeah, let's just do that again. So I just find it, hard to believe that the Centauri are going to have the will for a long, drawn out.
If it takes
dirty,
1,000 years,
dirty rebellion on the Narn homeworld, where
it
most
sort
of
of
them would
has-
be
Yeah,
thinking, hey,
historically-
why are we even here, man? Who cares? Leave these Narns alone. Didn't we get rid of them before? Like, why are we doing this? And the Narns are all, hey, we're gonna put a stop to this again. So
it has remnants of the Ottoman Empire when it comes to the Centauri.
all kinds. You could pick up all kinds of various
real world,
real world ones.
This
But
is a
Ottoman
feature
Empire
of-
is good.
This is a feature of all empires. The moment that they can't
Exactly.
expand anymore, they start to decline. It's their,
Yeah.
when you're based
Mhm.
on expansion, you only have one. When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
And the Narns have been, the Centauri have been declining for years. I don't think there's a Centauri. I think, with the exception of maybe Londo and like his age, which are like some of the older Centauris, most of the Centauris, the young ones who are going to fight the war, they've lived their entire life through the decline, right? They don't know anything better, and they're probably soft and weak.
No, we've seen, at least propaganda wise, they're on board. I mean, the examples we have seen, they're like, they're cheering it at times, which is the cause of several fights.
Everybody's on board till the bodies start coming back. And
well, see, that's the thing. It's like, well, they're not the ones stacking the bodies.
Well, it does make me wonder.
They're going to be soon, as soon as Jacquard gets his weapons down to Narn.
That does make me wonder, though, about Veer, and if Veer might not be doing something behind the scenes because of he feels guilty for what his people have done. You
want to? You and I, Jeff, are the only ones that don't know for sure.
Right. So I mean,
what
that's
did you think about the cut at the very beginning where it cuts up to Veer after Jacquard is talking
and he's watching and saying, and I think that
he's got this look on his. He doesn't. I mean, it kind of is a blank look on his face. No, not blank, but I didn't read much from his. It was maybe.
Well, that and his neutral. That and his attitude and his demeanor in the lift are why I suspect that he may be almost inspired both by his guilt and what Jacquard is saying, because he did not he didn't do enough to stop it. Maybe he could have stopped it somehow. So maybe he does something. Maybe he tries to start some sort of Narn support on in Centauri. To start maybe a network of something. I could see that happening.
I mean,
I don't
Veer's
know if
been
it comes to
against
fruition or not. but-
Veer's been against this from the beginning, and he's been.
Oh yeah,
It's obvious what he
Yeah.
feels. I don't think that he is the kind of character to, become a traitor, to go against what he, his race, his homeworld.
well, his people would consider him a
people.
traitor
I don't.
at large, but it only takes
I don't think
15%. So
yeah, he doesn't seem to be the kind to be a traitor. I could be wrong. He doesn't seem to be the kind, like he's not going to pass information to Jakar. He's not going to betray his people. I think he wants to, at least at this point, he doesn't like what's going on. And
No, but
he would try to stop it. Well, he has been trying to stop it.
but he could
to the best of his ability.
Yeah, he could be trying to. He may be. What I'm saying is trying to turn public opinion through back channels, through his own kind of, finding others that also are like him, that are very concerned about it, and kind of spreading that that concern among the people about something that can change an opinion of the people at large. Like I said, it takes 15% to, I believe, is the rule to try and actually influence a larger.
That could be. I'm not sure what he's going to do. I'm
I don't
curious
know.
to watch more episodes to see how his character develops. I hope there's going to be some development for him on this. If not, I'm going to be some disappointed. Whether it's one way or the other way, I don't care. I just want to see some development, because it seems
now there's something important.
It's going to go there,
Veer.
but let's hope so.
Now there's something important with Veer, and I'm not saying you're right or you're wrong to this point. I'm not going to give anything. What's the point? The most important thing is you have to pay attention. This is the same thing with last week's episode. Look at their eyes. Look at their facial reactions.
Yeah.
Okay. What does Veer look like at that point when you see him like that?
He's horrified about what's happening.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing about it is,
at the beginning of the episode.
Well, as soon as that when the camera pans up to that point, and then in the elevator.
Yeah.
He's
ashamed. He's ashamed of what his people have done.
Have you ever seen
any
pictures, any war pictures or anything like that of the young men who have gone into war and have seen action for the first time, and the reactions that they have, that to the point where they just can't take it. I think we've seen that in Veer right now.
Yeah.
Really? He seemed more contemplative to me. Like,
he's like
going somewhere. I'm gonna have to do something soon, maybe.
But look at Salukri is. It's his look is of someone who's very young, who might have been thrown in the thrusts of war, and you have to look into that perspective. What he's going to do beyond this, we have to wait. But still, he's a young man thrust into the situation that he's working for an ambassador, and now he's been thrust into the part that they've gone to war, and he's on the sort of the forefront of what is going on his world and on Narn at the same time.
I think a good analogy to real world history for where I'm going with this is the first soldiers that came back from Vietnam.
Exactly.
That type of thing, where they expressed their discontent, and that started the movement that changed public opinion. And I think that's where I'm looking at him working on. It would make
sense for Straczynski to go off of that. I don't really agree. I mean, with Madman, I think you could say that. I'm not sure that he seemed more contemplative, but I could see what you're saying could be true as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that he knows more about the machinations that have been going on behind the scenes than anybody else, right?
Exactly.
Like, he's right there with Londo, and he knows the dirty dealings and
Mr. Morden and the shadows.
He knows about Morden. He knows about the shadow. He knows that this is pretty bad, and no one, and hardly anyone else does. So
he knows more than Rifa does. In many regards,
yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, to a certain extent,
he's got knowledge that Rifa does not have.
Yeah,
that the only other that knows anything is Londo. So
That's
All right.
why
yeah,
you have to look at to how he's a young guy. He's a kid. He's not a full adult. He's a young man, and he's just being thrust into something that he wasn't expecting to be in.
his gut is he's got this feeling. He's
Mhm.
had this gut feeling actually for some time that
Yeah.
this is all wrong. This is wrong. We shouldn't be
Mhm.
doing this. This is wrong.
Yeah.
And he's pled
Exactly.
with Londo to try and convince Londo otherwise. He's kept Londo from going over the edge a few times, but when Londo did what he did at that point, it was too late, and he's like, maybe I didn't do enough. He's second guessing himself. Maybe there was something else I could have done that would have kept him from getting in bed with the shadows. And I don't know if he actually knows the shadows exist. He knows Mr. Morden exists, and Morden has
Right.
powerful connections. I don't think he knows per se about the
But
shadow
he knows that
creatures with him.
He knows that Mr. Morton has a fleet of ships out there that can
Yeah, right.
devastate a Norn fleet.
Yeah.
At this
Which
point.
is a threat. It's a threat not just to the Narn, but it's a threat
Mhm.
to Centauri and Earth, and and all of the worlds, the non-aligned worlds, and the Minbari. It's a threat to the universe, the galaxy,
All
at
right.
least.
We're just we're coming up on an hour here, everybody. Just want to say, hey, thanks for coming in. Don't be afraid to throw your thoughts in the chat about what's on, and we'll address them. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the like button on the thing. That's good for us.
Should drop a
Helps
link.
us out with the algorithm. All right, Cam.
Should we move on to the Inquisition?
Let me just. All right, I want to. There's something. Did you guys think
Do
that?
we want to follow up with the completion of the message and close out that
No,
topic?
Okay. I had a quite.
Oh, go ahead.
I thought. Did you? I thought that the hey, get me a message from my family, and then we'll be okay with your leadership. I thought it was a little bit lame. You can get a message from these guys, and then therefore we're going to support you. I'm curious as to what you guys thought. I mean, it seemed really
flimsy,
a little flimsy, and a little bit selfish of this guy. So we get, what about everybody else? Just this guy gets a message.
He did not say from my family. I think that was Jakar's decision.
Well, who else would
I think it was also a demonstration. It wasn't like I'm going to get something for you and give you a treat. It was.
Well, I know, but it just seemed. Why this guy? Why not all of them? And is it really that important? I mean, who else is going to lead? Jakar.
Well, you got to go back a couple episodes back.
Jakar's he's the ambassador. There's nobody more powerful on the station than him.
He's not an ambassador anymore.
Yeah, well, doesn't matter. He's still, he's the.
Well, his leadership.
He's
has
in the Kari. All of the rest of them
before.
are dead. Who are they going to get to lead them? Who's got
true.
more? It just seemed a little bit, false to me. I thought this to me that was a weak part of this part.
I think it was more of a test of, can you keep your promises, and can you do what you say you can do? I get it. I wasn't. I'm not as skeptical as you.
I promised that I can't get a thing from you there. I kept my promises.
Yeah,
I thought it was weak, but anyway.
I disagree with that. I think it was one of the more reasonable things in the episode.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think anyone. He's like, get. We have not been able to reach. We have no way to reach the Narn home to reach Homeworld. I don't think they said the Narn home world. They said Homeworld. We haven't heard for weeks from anyone there. And can you get a message through? He didn't say, hey, get my families on here. I think that was Jakar's conscious decision to say, okay, if because he agreed. He's like, if I can get a message through, and if you can't, then we'll have to find someone else. And he agreed. He's like, yep. I think this was all a bunch of begrudging agreements that Jakar's really being labored with.
Well, he has proved himself in the past. You have to remember, his leadership was challenged at the end of a poison Drazi blade.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Yeah, beat the crap out of that guy.
He ended up fighting the basic. but it basically, after that, his people were like, they were like, well, we're not going to challenge him like this again. And now to the point where they're like, well, we're going to challenge you, but you're going to have
It's
to.
not challenging his authority so much as
authority is just basically we want to trust that you're going to get the job done, but we want to know that can you get the job done.
these people have dedicated their lives and fortunes to this movement.
Exactly.
I get that why they would say, can you do what you say? Show us that you can do something. Give us some proof, some tangible evidence. And
I don't know. Is no one who else could do it anyway? I mean, it just seems. Plus, I would like to see, and I go to Star Trek all the time, but I would like to see something a little stronger about the about the Narn, whatever type of society they live in. If their normal thing is to you challenge the leadership of someone and he beats the crap out of you and then it's over. I would have kind of liked to see that again, if that's how they are, or it just because right now I'm wondering, well, so the Narn, do they normally stab each other in the back if they want to challenge each other's leadership, or do they just have to, I ask them some sort of minor thing and then it's okay. That's how we operate. Like, I just like to see something a little, more concrete about how
you want to see
the
it fleshed
Narn
out.
operate,
Yeah.
their society. So it's a little bit,
I'd rather see it.
I'd rather see it than
the
hear
point
about
that
it.
they're agrarian.
Yeah.
You have to remember
They're
they're agrarian. So they're basically more toward, hand-to-hand combat to that point, because basically, they work the lands with their hands all the time onto that. This is not like Centauri, which Centauri are always heavy equipped and basically, shoot first and ask questions later to that point.
And I hate to go back to like I said, to Star Trek too much, but
Jason's not here.
No, go ahead.
It's kind of that it's kind of that, if the Narn are the whatever, like in Trek we see very, the Klingons doing things a certain way, right? They're always beating on each other, that kind of thing. And I'm not saying the Narn have to be like that, but it would be nice to just have them to have it more certain as to how the Narn society operates, because I initially got the sense earlier that sometimes they stab each other in the back and they fight for if they have a problem of leadership, and that's perfectly acceptable in their society. And then this here is kind of done a little bit different. So I'm still trying to.
Well, no, yeah, but you like I said before, they were agrarian.
Well, they were agrarian before
war, right? And if you listen to what they said, this was like episodes back, is that we had to learn to fight the Centauri.
Yeah, and I don't
fight them on their level. Yeah, or
care which
or at least be able to find a way to defeat their level.
Yeah, and I don't care which it is. I just want to see it, right? I'm not telling Straczynski how to run his imaginary alien race, but I would like to see.
There are novelizations on the Narn Empire, if I'm not mistaken. I believe there are some on the Narn Empire.
All right. Yeah, that's all I wanted to mention about that, Cam. I didn't want to.
Okay. Well, and of course, we can all wrap up with our final thoughts on stuff too. So let's go on to the Inquisitor storyline. So
we spent an hour on this one, and this was the short line.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
the Inquisition. Here we go.
Kosh and Delenn meet up in a corridor, which is a little strange to me. And he basically says, "Hey, yeah, I think they were just in the hallway."
Kosh is always
but he did that with Sheridan too.
He's a lurker.
He's a lurker. Yeah,
you could run.
No. You notice every time Kosh shows up, it's like he shows up and he's not backlit. He's always
in
turning around.
He's patrolling for shadows.
That's because it's so hard for him to get through the doors.
Yeah, maybe so. Anyway, so he tells Delenn, "Yeah, we're sending this guy, and you're to submit to him." And she's kind of like, "Okay." And then she goes to Sheridan and says, "You got to let this guy in." I'm not sure why that was necessary. Kosh should have just said, "There's a diplomat coming." Why it had to be clandestine. But there was the scene with Sheridan and Delenn. And again, they're kind of putting these blocks together, little by little here. And, he's basically like, "Oh, anything for you, Delenn."
Yeah.
you know,
Brown
Baby.
chicken, brown cow.
well, it's kind of they are establishing that, you know, there's this convergence of this alliance here, you know. I mean, so it makes sense to me, but it is also, you know, has these overtones of a personal relationship as well.
It does.
Yeah, notice that as well. Pretty
Right.
odd.
So
Which it probably doesn't need to, but I don't
Sure.
think it necessarily needed to have those overtones. But I think it's
I mean, they've started with it. They might as well keep going, right?
Yeah,
Like if
right.
we stop, then you're
Mhm.
gonna go, what the hell? They hate each other now? What's up? They have a fight?
yeah. But so Sheridan agrees, and he, you know, meets the Sebastian, and they have this little conversation, and Sheridan seems to be trying to screen him, right? You know, because he's not comfortable with what this is looking like, and the guy. Sebastian basically, like you said, he gave a little info dump there, convenient, and which, you know, really wasn't needed, but and then he shuts him down. It's basically like, I'm not telling you anymore. And
and
then
I
Go
was gonna say I suspected immediately who he
Mm.
was, but especially when he goes into his little info dump, as you said,
right.
I'm like, I knew right away. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know who this guy is.
And then there was a scene where Delenn was going to where she's supposed to make somewhere in Gray Sector, I think it was, and it was they had this weird voiceover. It was basically, you know, this conversation that happened off screen
Yeah.
between Delenn and Sheridan, which, I mean, it was fine. It basically kind of filled the gap, but it was, I don't remember them ever doing anything like that before.
I actually made a note of that. And it makes me wonder if they filmed a scene or
Mhm.
filmed some of this, and then they had to edit it for time, so they basically took it with that scene and kind of just took the audio and overlaid it.
Mhm.
You know, I'm curious as
or
to what
did
the
it
real
afterwards
story,
or something. Yeah.
or went through and did it afterwards. Yeah, but you know, I'm curious. I'm curious what the story is on why they did it this way. And you're right, Kim. I have not seen them do anything like this. We've seen the black and white flashback type stuff,
Yeah.
but we have not seen, like, you know, because I'm like, well, I don't see Sheridan. Why is he talking? And I'm like, oh, this is kind of, I get what they're doing. This is a conversation they had before she went
Yeah.
on this.
And she's thinking about it or remembering it or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was interesting too. I noticed that myself, that they've never done it before.
right. So I'm sorry. Did anyone else have anything to say about that?
No.
Okay. If so maybe I'll pass it to Madman here when you know, to kind of go over in more detail about this interrogation with Sebastian and Delenn. You want to do that, Madman?
Hold on a second. I'm sorry. I was just trying
Okay.
to get some information.
Well,
Trying to get
Yeah.
some back
let's
Start
information.
start
off with a tap.
Well, let's
Yeah,
focus
okay.
on
That-
when
that-
we're doing this, gentlemen. When we're doing this, let's focus on, you know, not so much the details of what happened, unless, you know, if they're pertinent, of course, bring them up. But let's focus on our thoughts about it and why it's important.
Yeah. The thrust of what was going
The
on.
thrust of it. Not, you know, we don't need to go into detail about what everybody said.
Well, to me, the tap that
If
was
it's-
kind of an
if it's-
ominous to set the
well,
tone.
yeah,
you
if you
know.
want to,
Yeah, it is.
if you want to, I mean, if you think it's pertinent to the discussion of what's going on, of course, you know, mention it. But I
Okay,
don't want to
I-
rehash the whole thing. But
I can-
They, in grade 19 because they go to grade 19.
was it grade 19 or 17?
19.
Hmm
19. Okay.
19. But
Gray's like a sector, right? You don't really want to go there.
yes.
Maybe not. Anyway,
The thing is, what we get here is, you know, she goes to grade 19 and door, she opens up the door, goes in, and she's hearing the tap of his cane on there. And as he comes forward, you know, he gets into his introduction, and you know, the thing, you know, he gets into first. He gives these two bracelets,
Manacles,
That-
I think. Is
yeah,
what the
manacles
term
that
used.
she puts around her, and it's you kind of figure like, oh god, these things are probably going to like shock her every time that she says something wrong.
Yeah.
So
Go figure.
Clear foreshadowing on that
we'll
one.
figure on that one. But the thing about it is, the first thing
Even I got
it
that
comes out, which is, I think, very important, is who are you?
The classic
Yeah.
Delenn question.
classic question, and it's basically, she throws answers. He goes wrong, and she throws a couple more and wrong, and and he continues to beat in to the point that what you're saying is incorrect, and he goes into the whole, I'm
A
trying
lot of dialogue.
a lot of yeah, I'm trying to get
A
the
lot.
dialogue.
I got 3
the right
pages of
dialogue for
notes,
it.
and it was like I can't write all the dialogue for this stuff.
I think the point is that he's asking who she is, and she's not telling who she is. She's telling him what her titles are, or what other people
Or
see
what her
her.
name is, what other the
What
way
her
other
name.
people
Like,
see her.
those are just your
No,
labels.
I got
those
it.
aren't you. That's the point that he,
Here it
seems to
is.
be
I
getting
got
across.
it. What a sad thing you are, unable to answer even such a simple question without falling back on reference or genealogies. And what other people call you? Have you had nothing of your own, nothing to stand on that is not provided, defined, elated, stamp, sanctioned, numbered, and approved by others? How can you be expected to fight for someone else when you haven't the fairest idea of who you are?
Mm.
He's very
Okay.
derogatory
Do,
and
do you
demeaning.
does that hit home for you guys?
I thought that was very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
I
good
thought
speech.
I thought it wasn't. You
Really?
tell me, if somebody
Really?
says, "Who are you?" Do you
my
go
name's
into
so-and-so.
anything except for, "Oh, I'm my name"?
No, of course.
No, of course
you
not.
do,
That's the
but
I'm
natural
the
thing to
chosen
say.
one.
Yeah,
that's the point of
it's
asking it
absurd.
over and over again.
No, okay, the first time, but it's like no, and no. Okay, so then maybe you should ask a better question. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's designed to, and again, this was a psychological torture thing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so I understand why
Yeah.
he's doing it, but maybe it's just a pet peeve of mine. Who are you? Oh, name. Oh, that's your name. That's not. Shut the fuck up. That's the dumbest line. Somebody says that to
She
me, I'm
does
gonna.
kind of retort with that at one point. Something
No,
to
you
that
have to put to the
extent.
point that he's being narcissistic on this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
He sums up the narcissism and demolishes it in just 2 minutes.
He's forcing her to look into herself to see who she really is, not just by what her labels are.
Yeah.
I understood that. I think it's
it's a
and
little
then he
on
goes
the
into
cerebral
poetry.
side.
I don't know if it's reasonable, but it is something that we all should, look to ourselves. Like, who are we really? Are we really just
Okay? And if she said, "Oh, I am the leader of the Army of Light, and I have a motivation of blah blah blah," do you think he would have been like, "Oh, okay, sure, that was a good answer"?
No, he would have
No,
come back. He would have retorted easily
yes.
with something like, "Oh, so you think you're special, do you?"
Right. Yeah,
You know?
exactly. There's no right answer here. This is about torturing her, right?
Well, no, there is a right answer to it, but you have
doesn't
to go
she
through
get
this
the
whole
right
premise
answer at the
to
end?
get to the answer.
Okay,
Yeah,
but that answer
you have to strip away.
Okay,
Yeah.
but that answer wasn't there. Okay, you want to just go to the end for? And we can go back. I'm not
like-
saying we need to end the conversation, but basically, okay. So, what is the final answer that he accepts?
The answer is that basically that her and Sheridan are going on this charge, in charge of the Light Brigade, however you want to put to the point. But they're accepting to the point that they that they care for each other on there to defend each other, but they're not looking for banners or anything or statuettes or anything to put on there. They're just trying to protect themselves, and and
Protect
beyond
each
that,
other.
it's to the point. They're not. It's Sebastian. Okay, get to the Sebastian to give the ending out on that. We know who Sebastian is at this point, toward the end of this.
Well,
And
we highly suspect.
Yeah, when you get to the end of it, we know who
the very
Sebastian is.
last end of
Right,
is where,
exactly.
we find out his first
what
name.
was Sebastian doing? He was trying to impose himself, to try to bring out the darkness and evil in the world. I mean,
Right.
when he got to Babylon 5, what was the first thing when he saw the people in Babylon 5? He says, "Nothing's changed. Corruption, immorality, chaos.
Nothing changes. Yeah.
Nothing changes." That's what was happening in 1888.
Right.
That time
Debauchery
period.
and
Debauchery and all that, and he went on his own holy, and he says it, his own holy crusade. I mean, one of the great, the best line is for him is what he says. Hang on, I got it right here. I have it written here. Oh yeah, he goes. How do you know the chosen ones? No greater love hath a man that he lay down his life for his brother, not for millions, not for glory, not for fame, not for one person in the dark where no one will ever know or see. I have been in the service of the Volans for centuries, looking for you, Di- Diogenes with his lamp, looking for an honest man, willing to die for all the wrong reasons. At last, my job is finished.
Yeah.
Yours is just beginning. When the darkness comes, you know this: you are the right people in the right place at the right time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
And I want
and
to
that-
just go back a little and challenge Cam though,
Yeah.
because I don't think that it's necessarily that he has an idea of what the right reason is. He just is trying to force Delin and then later Sheridan into realizing what the reason why they're doing this, right? So he
Okay.
doesn't know. He doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily know why.
Okay, but
they're
the
doing
answer
it. He's
came
forcing
only.
them to. He's forcing them to examine themselves so that they
Okay,
understand.
but
what
Sheridan
the
wasn't
reason
part
is.
of it. Sheridan wasn't even
He,
involved
he
in this.
was.
Oh,
he
no,
was
he was.
ultimately. He was.
He
And-
was.
and
he-
Later, he was. Later,
no,
Yeah, but
you
when he
see,
came out.
Okay, so but no, okay, that's fine.
Here's
But
the
he's
point.
starting out on Delin, and he's trying
Yeah.
to get her to understand. But remember, when Sheridan shows up, he's like, finally he shows up. Like he knew he was going to show up anyway.
Yeah.
Or was he expecting it? But the point is that he is trying to get her, forcing her to realize why she's doing this. And he doesn't care what the answer is. It's just important that she knows what it is, right? So that she can operate. And then when Sheridan comes up, he's doing the same thing to him. And they do realize, I guess they're kind of doing it for each other, sort of. But
The answer that I got out of it, that the overarching answer is that they are willing to sacrifice for each other and for the cause, right?
Right.
I mean, and like you said, the
greater
overtones
good.
of right, and not being about I'm a glorious leader, thing. So that's fine.
The opposite of Londo, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Their motives are the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, but getting to the Sheridan part of it. Remember the part he says, does the universe know you're here? Would you call out to the universe? It would shout back and come to rescue you and to that point. And that's the point where, I feel that's what he's talking about Sheridan at this point.
Yeah.
And later on when Sheridan shows up, he's finally arrived.
Yeah.
To that point.
And I think that was the universe answering.
Yeah.
Well, okay. In regards to Delin, hasn't she already sacrificed? And isn't Kosh fully aware of this? And in fact directing her in certain ways? She's already given up her connection to her
Kosh
entire
has
but even her own
doubts.
people have questioned her loyalty to the Minbari, for example. How do you know you're the right one? They have questions too about her loyalties and where they lie, and ultimately they lie towards the greater good for all, not just her own people, not to be famous among her people or to
she
to be
hides
revered.
herself. I mean, the very core of her character is she's hiding her fame. Essentially, she's masquerading as a humble ambassador when she's really, not only a member of the Great Council, but the person nominated to be the leader of it, and she gave all that up.
Yeah,
and I think Kosh is aware of this. So for me, this doesn't make particular sense that there's a strong motivation to question her at all. At what point has she shown any inclination towards glorifying herself?
All right.
And
I've got an answer to that.
Okay,
I've
go
got
ahead.
an answer. I think this is what I think Kosh is trying to get at. And this is just my own thought. I don't know if I have much proof for this, but I think that he's forcing Delin to confront the aspect of her personality that is she and Sheridan are having some sort of romantic personal relationship, and that's not something that she would have done before, certainly not with a human. So I think he's trying to force her to accept this fact that she's in love with or something with Sheridan. They're in love with each other, and they have to accept that and work through that because things are going to get tough. And this is something that she has to do it because she's not used to that. I mean,
not only that, you have to remember that she's not full Minbari anymore.
Yeah, she's
more
partly, so she's not a Minbari anymore. She's half human. So
She's
now
half
she's
human.
got all these human emotions. She's falling for Sheridan because of them. They've got something going on.
She's acting more human.
Yeah,
than
she has
Minbari.
to. She doesn't know how to act like that. She's gonna have to face that and somehow come to terms with it, because, like, this is what I thought the whole episode, the reason why she had to be inquisitored, was because she has to she has to face these human feelings that she's getting, which she might not know how to deal with.
I see now.
I think of how many, is she going to be able to, give the order to blow up Babylon 5 in the future? Like, I'm just, I don't know this happens, but whatever, some sort of order in order to save everything, and Sheridan's going to be on the Babylon 5 and get killed, or some order that, he might get killed. Is she going to be able to do that? Is she going to be able to,
the answer
deal with
to
a
this
romantic
was
relationship?
the answer was that they were motivated by that relationship.
I don't think
Yeah.
so.
What
I
do you mean?
disagree.
on there. Look,
they were
Dave agrees
there
with me.
sacrificing themselves for the other, for the other individual.
But I don't think, but see, that would make it selfish almost.
Well, that's my point. Is what the supposed conclusion doesn't seem to match what was revealed.
I didn't think of the relationship, and that's why I said earlier that I don't think they even needed to put those overtones in this episode. I think it was that one would be willing to put their life on the line to save another, regardless of if you're in a relationship. Are you willing to do that ultimate sacrifice in the middle of nowhere when nobody cares, in the darkness, when surrounded by the darkness? Would you be willing to die for to save the life of another, regardless of who they are? And I think the point of the interrogation ultimately was to bring both, and it wasn't just her interrogation. Let's be clear. This was, he knew that they were both being interrogated. I don't think Sheridan realized he was being interrogated. But ultimately, it was to have them realize they are, as Madman wrote, as he recited, they are the chosen ones. They are the ones. They have to believe it and know that for a fact that they are the ones that are in the right place at the right time. They were the right people in the right place at the right time. And up until now, they've had doubts to that, about, it's been we've got to do something. We've got to do something. We can't just sit idly by. We have to fight.
It's not something. It's the correct something.
Right.
And that's the reason why Sebastian was the Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Because what the choices that Sebastian made in 1888 were all the wrong.
Well, yeah, and he even, I was actually going to I think we were going to go get there very quickly.
We're going to get there very quickly, but I have the exact line.
Okay,
the thing about it is,
but
you have to put to the point. Sebastian is there because he made all the wrong choices.
Right. He thought
he was sure that they're not going to make the wrong choices.
Yeah, he thought he was the one that was chosen by God to clean up the debauchery,
the holy cause.
That he was on a holy cause, and he was doing this to to show others the errors of their ways, so that that society would clean up its ills, and obviously in 1888. But the Vorlons when the Vorlons picked him up, they revealed the universe to them and showed him his crimes and his atrocities and things, unspeakable things that he had done. And of course, that right there, goes into who he actually is. And I think at this point, I think anybody who hasn't watched the episode has probably figured out 1888. Lived at 14B, and was it Harrisford, London? Yeah. I think it's kind of pretty obvious at that point. That's why I kind of figured it right along. But Snob, you wanna go there because that guy disappeared and suddenly these random murders somewhere stopped
At the end of
happening.
the episode, his name. He says his name. Its name is Jack. He's obviously Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow. That's right. He's Yar. He's a pirate. No,
No,
but,
let me put the line in there.
sure.
Go ahead, Madman.
Good luck to you in your holy cause, Captain Sheridan. May your choices have better results than mine. Remembered not as a messenger, remembered not as a reformer, not as a prophet, not as a hero, not even as Sebastian. Remembered only as Jack.
Jack the Ripper.
So I mean, I don't know much about, like, I don't know the details of Jack the Ripper. So I didn't, when he gave his initial with Sheridan, I didn't realize he was Jack the Ripper.
You didn't,
but I'm not into that Jack the Ripper stuff. So I don't know, exactly when Jack the Ripper was. I know he's the late 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't actually click to me, but by the time, he was done and Sheridan was, talking to him, it's like, it was pretty obvious to me.
I mean, Wayne Alexander, who played him, was brilliant.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the thing about it is, he's not even British; he's American.
Yeah,
that accent alone, he's just like,
again.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So
wait,
I mean, it was pretty obvious before he said Jack. It was obvious, he said, when Sheridan goes, yeah, you were around this time. I'm like, wait a second, is that I'm kind of the moral stuff, and maybe was he?
Just in case you missed it, though, they made sure that they
wrapped it. Yeah, they
told you at the very end.
They drew the
remembered
line
only as Jack. He was not remembered as Sebastian.
Yeah.
No, it was remembered as Jack. Fade to black. Last credit.
Yeah, as in case I didn't figure it out, they drew the line nice and thick. Yeah.
Well,
it makes sense.
Jack the Ripper
is well done.
Science fiction.
It's well done that yeah, he's he framing his what he was doing at the time was trying to framing it that way, trying to
so do you
debauchery
think,
and all that stuff.
Okay, do you see a parallel there between what his supposed crusade was and this crusade? Because I don't.
Well, the parallel is every crusader thinks that they are right and sent by God, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are no bad guys. Every bad guy thinks he's the good guy.
I don't know. It's pretty thin in my opinion, but let me bring up one other point. Is
skeptic, Kim.
He mentioned that he didn't say frozen, he said preserved, but basically I think he implied that he was frozen or they wake him up when they need him, right? And he mentioned
they bring him out of, he didn't say, did he say
400 years?
He used the word preserved.
Say frozen, he said
preserved.
Did he say preserved?
Yeah, but he also implied that they basically dragged him out of something, and so I took that to mean frozen in quotes at least, but and then he did elaborate and said, basically he alluded to the fact that he was doing other work of this type. Well, okay, here's my question then is that the Shadow War is a unique thing, and this is coming up at a unique time for unique reasons that you guys might not be, Madman might not be clear at this point. Well, exactly what other work was he doing is I mean, maybe it's not that important, but I'm like, it's not this work. It's not exactly this. But I guess that's my point is it made it seem like, I've been searching for the right person for this job. And it's like, well, this job is unique to right now though.
Well, I mean, it seems to me that he basically works in Vorlon HR.
Okay, right. But 100 years ago,
they don't have the guts to do their own dirty work.
Well, so that's weird as well. There
we
could
don't want
be
to torture him
because
because we're the good guys, so we're going to hire this guy to torture him for us.
I guess. But my point is 100 years ago, let's say they had him doing something. It's not the same thing as what this is, this situation. It just 100 years ago, it wouldn't have been relevant. So it seems strange to me that I didn't think that was a particularly well-made point. But maybe you guys think differently.
Well, I assume that he's like I said, he does their dirty work for them. You know, they're not able to torture people in order to get them to, and you know, maybe maybe the Vorlons could do the same thing, and I think maybe they were trying to do it with Sheridan.
Well, their
when the
words.
Vorlons
You have to
were
remember their
talking to
words.
him, but you know, there's the the nicey nice way, which might take a long time, and maybe they don't have time. So time to send in the guy who's just gonna torture you and force you to confront your personality right off the bat. So I mean, I assumed he was not necessarily doing things for this aspect, but whatever things that the Vorlons needed done. I don't know. It is a little bit, fishy though. How come they can't do it themselves?
Well, it's interesting. Well, maybe it's kind of their non-interference thing. I mean, they kind of have this non-interference with these lower beings.
So send the original serial killer to, do their thing for him.
I mean, I'm sure there were other.
But what was his first question?
Before then, who are you?
Okay. Again, what was the second question? Who are you?
Yeah.
His third question: who are you?
Yeah.
What does that sound like?
Well, it harkens back to the Shadow, Morden asking people questions.
And what's
except
his question?
He doesn't ask the same question.
What do you want?
He asks, "What do you want?" Right. So that is is that a significant difference between what you would think that the devil would ask you versus what God would ask you? The devil would ask you what you want because I want to give you what you want, and then God would ask you.
I mean, coming from a philosophical perspective, who you are is not your label, and what do you want is your greatest desires, and one is tied maybe more towards carnal or selfishness or whatever. But who are you is a very no, I didn't ask what your name was. I want to know. Tell me what makes you you? What makes you special? What is your motivations, your desire? Who are you really? Not your persona, not your what is it, the id and the I forget the psychology terms, but that God, I don't even remember what some Greek philosopher came up with. But talking about the ego and the id or something like that, what you are inside versus the shell, the persona that others perceive you as. Would you always be willing to do the right thing, or are you lawful good for being lawful good, or are you are you only good because you have to be?
But you put to the perspective that we're looking at this, and like what Sebastian said, the holy cause.
Yeah.
And we've been hearing a lot of the light. We'll go back over to Zathras, when he said, and basically, we're taking this for war of light, and then you always keep hearing that. The war of light, and then now you're hearing the villain is shadows.
Yeah.
So are we dealing with God and the devil at this point? You have to ask you that questions. Who are you?
I'm more inclined to believe. I think Snob and I have gone off and saying it's more like angels and demons.
Good versus evil. Yeah,
whatever. Good versus evil.
How do you want to put it? Good versus evil.
But you can
light
see
versus
that
darkness.
You can see that the good side would have to be concerned about the fact that the good might be perverted by becoming, if you become in this belief where what you're doing, you're doing God's work, and then therefore you can do no wrong.
It's perverted.
And, and it gets perverted, which is basically what you could say that Jack the Ripper is in that category.
He thought he was he thought he was trying to do good for society, but it's it was the extremes. Well, and and Lanier even said to a point that it was something, to that effect. Doing the right thing for the wrong reasons corrupts what you did itself. So, you have to be certain that what you're doing is right. And again, as I said, this all focuses back on them believing in themselves, not convincing themselves, but that they know for certain and are confident that they are the right ones. That they know for their own, intents and purposes. See what I did there? So that's my feeling on it, anyways.
Yeah, I don't agree with that 100%. I mean, they are the right people, perhaps.
Well, we know
they're
that.
the right,
You know that. I know that.
well,
but
they're the right people though, because they need to be able to question themselves. Because if you believe too much that you're the right person, then you become susceptible to the whatever I'm doing is right. God is on my side. Therefore, I can do no wrong, and therefore I can do whatever.
I am the force, and the force is one with me.
And then that's how you become corrupted. So I'm not,
die a hero, live long enough to be the villain.
So I this whole, it's a little bit, they need to, believe that they are the right people, but they got to know that, that doesn't mean they can just do whatever the hell they want.
Well, I think that's the whole point, because, they have to come to that realization, but also have that humility. Whereas Jack did not have that. He thought he was the right person. He was absolutely convinced of it. That's why he did the horrendous things he did. But ultimately, he did them. What he did was, the wrong thing for maybe the right reasons. But
there's a line that Sebastian says, "Are you willing to die friendliness alone and deserted by everyone?"
Mm-hmm. Are you willing to sacrifice, those under your command, your family, your friends, your colleagues?
Sorry, I have to bring up the point here. Are we just accepting that Jack the Ripper had a holy crusade in mind? What evidence is there of that?
Okay. This is the point.
That's what JMS is telling us.
That's what JMS.
Yes, right.
This is the reason Jack the Ripper did his thing is because of this. I'm not saying it's true.
Right. I don't accept that. As a premise that was not established for me personally. I understand that he's establishing it for his purposes in the show, but I think that's weak as hell. I really don't like it.
Cam, this is only a story that from JMS on this. You have to remember, Jack the Ripper has been used in a lot of throughout science fiction history. It's been on Star Trek. Star Trek, they described him as some sort of alien force that goes from planet to planet, inhabiting different people's bodies, taking them over, and doing what Jack the Ripper does to that point. Time after time, you go to the author of the Time Machine. He actually built the Time Machine, and basically Jack the Ripper steals it, goes into the future, and he has the main character has to go after Jack the Ripper in the present day Earth to the point. So there are many different variations of Jack the Ripper. You could say even in the belief of the truth of what Jack the Ripper is, we still question to this day. There've been various people that have thrown a lot of I'm going to say answers to the point, but can't prove the situation.
Was it one person? Was it more than one?
They said he worked for the king. That he was the doctor, the doctor of the King of England. Others saying that he was a doctor in a area that was very poor to that point. There've been various Asians, and every 10 years or so you get a new theory.
I think there was one recently within the past few months,
and that's why Jack the Ripper is because we don't know the truth. It's very easy for people to use them in science fiction and whatever, and use it how they want to. So I just don't understand, Cam, what you're like. like, are
What
you
his
like?
hang-up
I'm
is?
not.
What's
I'm
your
not
hang-up,
saying
man?
that the reason that Jack the Ripper did what he did, truthfully, is because he was on a holy crusade to clean up
Okay,
London. I have no idea. That's what JMS is saying.
I understand that, and so let me ask, what would the
Is it
purpose of him establishing that narrative, which is fine? He's saying this is it.
what
The
JMS?
characters, yes, in within the story is what I'm saying is he is establishing that Sebastian believed himself to be, doing the right thing. He had a crusade, and he mentioned about chaos and debauchery or whatever he was saying, right? Okay, and for me, the purpose of that in a story would be to make a parallel to this the actual story going on, the Babylon 5 story, and I think it utterly fails in that.
Okay.
That's
All right. Well,
again, you don't
let
have to
me-
agree
let
with
me-
me. I'm just
I
telling
can-
Yeah,
you why I
we're
didn't
not.
like it.
Yeah,
I can understand what you're saying, Cam. But the thing is, you can use it. If you go through the history of serial killers, and you look at what a lot of them what they say. Some of them say, "No, I'm here to do God's work," or
Sure.
"I'm here to
Yeah,
take poison out of things," and that's the perspective that you hear a
Remove the
lot of
unseen.
times.
Yeah,
from
and
a lot of these
Sell it.
profilers.
Sell it.
Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I don't think that JMS's theory on what Jack the Ripper's insane mindset would have been is necessarily, incorrect. That they may very well have been what he was thinking about. I
Mhm.
just don't think that it relates to this story well.
Well,
Mm.
don't take it as it's Jack the Ripper. Take it to the point where it's a man who thought he was doing right, thought that he was trying to save the world,
Yeah.
and he
But
didn't.
because
but because
his-
of his actions and what he did, and thought what was
his-
right
his-
was actually
his-
wrong.
yeah, it's what Linear says at the beginning, right?
Yeah. About the corruption.
About motivation.
Your motivation can corrupt the outcome. Ultimately,
Exactly. That's what.
doing the right thing for the wrong reasons corrupts the whole thing,
Or doing the wrong thing for the right reason.
or doing the wrong thing. Well,
I mean, I can buy that Jack the Ripper might have been a psycho and said, look at all the corruption, the prostitution in London, and the degeneracy, and I'm going to fix it by murdering a few people, and that should scare everybody else to stop doing it.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
are we
it's not really sane, but
are we to expect though that Sebastian has learned his lesson? That's what they seem to be implying at the end. It's like, oh yeah, I realize the wrongness of my ways. And then at the beginning of the episode, he's not displaying that at all. He's saying, "Oh, look at this debauchery. It's really, he's triggered by it."
It never changes. Yeah.
400. Well, you have to remember, 400 years.
Penance. He uses the word penance.
Right.
Yeah,
And it's very important that he used the word penance because and I was thinking about this a few minutes ago. Actually, I've been thinking about it the whole time. But when he talks about the Vorlons, yes, the Vorlons have been to Earth. The Vorlons are everywhere. The Vorlons are. And
I think that he's been. I think that the Vorlons initially showed him the error of his ways, right? And he, but he's had to do penance, and he's still, he's human. He still has to. He comes in and looks at the debauchery, right? He still has to fight that, right?
Yeah.
He knows it's wrong. He says, "Look at all this debauchery," but he doesn't go on a killing spree.
Never changes.
Right?
Seems like he really enjoyed torturing.
He's got more fun to do instead.
Well, it's part of his job. It's part of his job, though. So, he's got to, and yeah, I mean, it is a bit,
I mean, what did
and
the
again,
Vorlons
I would
show
ask,
him?
why are the Vorlons choosing this guy to do it? Because, the Vorlons probably can't do it, right? They don't have the guts to do it themselves. So they get this guy who's going to, who's okay with torturing people in a sense.
I don't think the Vorlons could have done it, but the thing about it is, it's how can I say, their point is to stand back and let someone else give the judgment. In other words, they're the plaintiff, and Dylan's is the defendant to the point, and Sebastian, of course, actually the Inquisitor, the judge, to the point that he's judging these people if they're
he's the prosecutor.
He's the prosecutor.
Yeah, the Inquisitor. Yeah, more like
I disagree with the premise that either Sheridan or Delenn has shown that they are in any way parallel to what the narrative that JMS used for Jack the Ripper.
Well, no,
on the
they don't have-
contrary,
Yeah, go ahead.
on the contrary, I think they have already both shown that they have sacrificed or at least experienced loss. And have it shown, again, it's this would make much more sense to me if it was like they needed to be taken down a peg. I don't see that either of them do need to be taken down a peg.
I think they needed to be sure that they couldn't be taken down.
Yeah, but you
Mad
have to
Men,
remember
I think-
what is to come. The
I
battle
think
that
Mad
is
Men
to
has
come.
the.
It's
not.
It's
Yeah,
not-
Hoodall's great.
the reality is that
Savage Animal on a
again, don't
Chain.
take this as Jack the Ripper. Take it as is to a person who has had experience in this perspective of light and
Doing
darkness,
the wrong
trying
thing.
to do the right thing, but that they thought they were doing the right thing and did it wrong.
Okay.
And the thing about it is, it could, in a way, it could affect Sheridan and Delenn, that maybe they might do the wrong thing. And remember what Sebastian says. He has been searching for them for quite some time. He may have been brought out multiple times where the Volans may say, well, I think maybe this person is the right person to fight the shadows.
See, that doesn't work for me either, because
Well, that doesn't really work for me. But
400 years,
and not only that, there's something I can't talk about because it's a major
I know.
spoiler.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm also,
I know.
I'm
biting my tongue right now. So
yeah. Okay. Well, all right. I've stated my dislike.
And remember, look, the Inquisition. I understand what Cam you're saying, but the Inquisition. I mean, they say at the very beginning of the episode, not that Kosh thinks that they're going to fail or they're not the right people for the thing, which I would agree. They haven't shown any reason that they haven't, that they're not the right person, but it's just to be sure. Right. And, insurance, like an insurance policy. And maybe, Kosh wants to make sure that they know that they're sure, so that there's less chance they're going to make a mistake, not be able to make that difficult decision that they may have in the future.
See,
they may have to make a decision at some point that may cost the lives of thousands of people in order to save billions.
I agree with that, and like I said, the bit where that came down to them demonstrating their willingness to sacrifice themselves is good. That's the gem there that I wish was arrived at differently. Have you guys ever seen the Untouchables 1987 movie?
No.
Yes.
Okay. Where there's famous line. Sean Connery says to Kevin Costner, he's like, what are you prepared to do? It's like if you're going down this road, you have to see it through, right? And
yeah.
Well, okay. And see, that was done very effectively, I think, in that movie. And I don't know. This just doesn't land for me. So,
I'm going to bring up another one, which is this kind of thing reminds me of the military, where they're tearing people down, forcing them to, see who they are. Has anyone seen An Officer and a Gentleman?
Yes.
The movie, right? So Mayo, right? They break him. The drill sergeant breaks him down until finally, he's very selfish, doing everything for himself. Even after he sees the example of everyone, but at the final end of, near the end of the movie, he breaks him down and he says, I got nothing else. He's crying. He's, destroyed. He's been torn apart. I've got nothing else. He kind of realizes finally what it is. Right.
I'm thinking,
it's exactly as Houdal says, know thyself.
Yeah. I'm thinking along the lines of like the first part of Full Metal Jacket. Where they're literally breaking them down to build them up.
And I guess,
but that's not really, they don't really themselves. They just get broken down and rebuilt as Marines.
Yeah. I don't know that that's the method you use for a seasoned leader. That would seem to have the
Full
opposite.
Metal Jacket?
No. I'm saying you don't treat a colonel the same way you treat a private. It's
well,
these are
but
not the same methods.
Is he a colonel in this fight? Maybe he's just a private.
Well, maybe to the Vorlons,
he's the equivalent of a private in this fight. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I think that doesn't really track either. But
I don't know.
You have to remember that sometimes it's you don't need a colonel or a general to win a war. Sometimes a private might win it for you by the sacrifice that they make.
That's
Yeah.
true. That could happen, but
You know,
these
you
are
have
the
to remember
leaders
with the
now.
line he says, Dionysus with his lamp.
Just looking for the one honest man.
The one honest man. The Greek Cynic, the philosopher. That basically, what is it? He carried a lamp in broad daylight, claiming he was looking for an honest man to highlight the lack of true virtue and honesty, in his society. That's to the point that's what the Volans were trying to look for, someone that basically that will, do the job that basically to defend everyone for light, and not
One honest
and
man
be
in this.
honest and not to farther to the left. They always say, like I said before, die a hero or live long enough and become the villain.
So Vorlons are basically looking for the one honest man amongst all these, squabbling young races that are full of imperfection and are not mature enough to.
Yeah, because remember,
you can see
the
that
Volons have been around a long time, like the Shadows.
And the question is, how many other Inquisitors have they had? Because obviously they've only had him for 400 years, so I'm sure that they had to go through this before.
Yeah, I don't really
1,000 years ago or so. Maybe that one man was
but not in the time span of the last 400 years.
Right.
I think that you guys are focusing too much on that. I don't think that what Sebastian says about the Vorlons could have sent him here or there for whatever reason. They go and do here and do this. They're not telling him, hey, your job is to find the one light.
Okay, but he kind of implies that is what he was doing.
Yeah,
could be what they just told him.
Maybe, or maybe it was just a warm up. They were just training Jack the whole time.
I don't. Yeah, I just he says that he understands what the Vorlons have told him. What he's doing, but he's still just a human. Like, how is he? Can these young races really understand the motivations of these, powerful ancient races and what they're up to? We get the ant and the boot and the how we deal with ants thing again, so to speak.
I have to put down another flag here as a marker, and I guess I'm not actually taking note of this, so I'll probably forget most of them. But at some point in the future, I'll say, "Aha! Remember when I said?" So, well.
Oh, believe me, I already have about a pocket full of them right now.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
Okay, so.
Well, we look forward to it.
We look forward to being.
We're assuming there's going to be a future, Cam.
We look forward to being proven wrong with our.
Yeah, where we're going. Yeah.
Well, no, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in on this. And a lot of people dismiss this episode. And not realize, where we are at. I mean, you're talking about, religion here, cause, drive in war, the sacrifices that need to be made to the point on this end of the story. And then you look at the other end of the story, you're trying to prove your worthiness to your people itself, that basically you can do the job to protect them and to free them from what's being done to them. So you have this balance between these two stories, and it's very powerful to the point. You have to put what is to come next. We only have one episode left.
Yeah. This is also something within the military that we, they say that the real motivation for people to fight and not run away in a war is because of the person next to them, and they their brother, they believe in them and they want to help their brother. When it comes down to it, and when it's fear of death and all that, country and duty and all that stuff doesn't mean crap. You fight for the person who's next to you. They're there, they're immediate. So this whole, I think I agree, PB. I don't think he's the focus. It doesn't matter. It's Jack. He's it's the lessons. It's in a misdirection of sorts. Yeah, sure. I don't know. Would it have worked better? I mean, I think it worked for me. It would have worked better if the Vorlons used a different person. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care if it's Jack the Ripper or not.
They could have used Charlie Manson,
it's just something that
any serial killer in there.
Yeah, it's what JMS picked to demonstrate. It didn't have to be a serial killer. You could have done something else. But to me, I'm focused on the lesson.
I mean, it could have been somebody like Moriarty, or could have been someone, anyone like that.
Could have been a nobody.
I'm sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I wonder if either Jaquan or Valen were chosen ones before as well, and you know what I mean. Of course, because
gods of the.
Well, they're not gods. I mean, Valen was not a god, and Jaquan
right.
was not a god. They, but they were, religious leaders, or perceived as religious leaders. I don't know if they necessarily were. Certainly held in high regard.
1,000 years from now,
for the Narns,
Sheridan's going to be our Jesus.
So no, I don't think. Well,
they did have him up on the cross a little bit there with the light behind him.
Does that make Delenn Mary Magdalene or? Oh wait!
No.
I'm gonna piss off a whole bunch of people.
No, if I had a chair, I'd smack it in the back right now on you.
Oh
man.
Oh no. But seriously, I do wonder if maybe somebody like Valen and or Jaquan had been had inquisitors sent to them at some point in time in the past too. So
maybe
an evil man can learn. So that's an excellent point, PB. And I think he uses that penance. I'm sure that they're basically putting him in stasis. He probably doesn't know how.
I'll bring this up from the animated series. What was it? I think the Justice League animated series. There's an episode where supposedly Toyman kills Superman, but actually he sends him accidentally into the far future where mankind doesn't exist anymore and it's been destroyed. And the only other person there is Vandal Savage. And Vandal Savage is a completely different man at that point, where he's like, hey, listen, I'm the one who destroyed the world, and I'm sorry about that, and I was wrong. I was really, truly wrong. And he's like, well, would you like to get some breakfast right now? Come on over. We can sit and talk. I haven't talked to anyone in years. And you look to that and saying like, this Vandal Savage took hundreds of years or thousands of years, excuse me, in this case, that's how long it's been, that he learned that basically, I shouldn't have destroyed the world.
Yeah, thousands of years in the destruction of the world to realize that he was wrong.
Great.
Awesome, dude. You couldn't have just taken and listened to somebody else tell you. You have to go
exactly.
But anyway, that's good. That's interesting. Yeah. All right. Anything else about this? We're hitting the 2-hour mark, Cam.
Yep. I don't have anything else to say other than the wrap up. And if anyone else has something they can't do outside the wrap up, go ahead.
Let me ask. Oh, PB, was it 30,000 years in that thing? Yeah, that sounds
30,000 years. Yeah,
30,000. That sounds about right. Did you think that this is kind of minor? Was Lanier a little bit emotional when he comes in to get Delenn? When he came in. I'll address it. When he came running in to save Delenn, he's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" He seemed super emotional. I was wondering if this was some sort of vision that she was having, or she was, having an episode or something, because he would seem very much more emotional than his normally was. And I was like, "Is this real?" That was my first thought.
No, there's a couple back episodes where Lanier has been a bit
emotional. I don't
emotional and focused on it. Remember when she the end of the season 1 going into 2, where she went into the cocoon and Lanier was crying.
Yeah, he's very tied to her for sure.
Yeah, he is.
So you guys weren't all right. He had no problem.
He cares for Delenn. He cares for Delenn.
He cares. He doesn't usually show it.
Cares for Delenn.
He seemed very animated and like, "Oh, Delenn, what's wrong with you?"
Yeah, he was crying.
He seemed it seemed out of character a little bit for me. Not that he cared about her; he obviously cares about her, but that he was sort of showing a little frantic. you know.
Now,
Well, and he
this,
ran and got Sheridan right away. So, even though she said, "Please, you need to leave. You need to,
Yeah.
and
So no, you guys weren't bothered by that at all. You didn't think that was a little.
No.
All right.
No,
not at
it's
all.
within character that he's
Just me.
been that way.
No.
Yeah.
Now, remember, she used to be a Satai, very high ranking in the, respected in the Great Council. And,
I think he still sees her that way,
and yeah,
regardless of what happened to her with the Great Council. He's been by her side, just as Veer has seen, been by the side of Londo as he's gone into the darkness. He's Lanier has been by Helen's side as she's moving even more so into the light.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. That's pretty straightforward. All right. Okay. If there's nothing else, then last thoughts. Madman, you want to go first?
Okay, well, we have here another powerful episode, a very important episode to the Babylon 5 lore. We have two sides of situations that are similar, two inquisitions that are going on that basically have resolved themselves. What is the picture to come for these for Jakar and Delenn and Sheridan, and what of Veer, which is very important as well. He's going through something himself. Basically, he's dealing with some darkness that's been surrounding him for the last couple of episodes in itself. Now, the question is, where do we go from here as far as that? That is yet to come. We got one more episode. I give this a 9.5 out of 10 on this episode.
All right. Okay, Jeff.
Yeah, great episode. This was an excellent episode. I don't think I've given anything a 10. And it certainly was not quite as powerful as one of the previous episodes, I think. But even though it may not appear outwardly or at first glance to be, oh, you could just forget this episode and skip right over it. I don't think. I think it's too important. It's very, very full of dialogue. It's very loquacious. All particularly Sebastian, he's got a lot to say. And I think Jakar has returned, to where he started, to his roots, really, in trying to rally these people to get doing things, to keep the plight of his people in the public's eye, across the galaxy, not just and as Madman alluded to with Veer, I think he's questioning, and his doubts are starting to come to fruition, to the surface of, should I have done more? Could I have done more? Maybe there's something else I can do. How can I help? Maybe I can help turn the tide, and with it, not suggesting that he would be a traitor, although he may be perceived as that, but that he could do the right thing for the right reasons. So maybe that's the moral of the whole episode, is doing the right thing for the right reasons. I'm going to give it a 9. Definitely give it a 9. It's there wasn't too much I disliked about it, to be honest. I really can't nitpick too many things. So overall, yeah, great episode. I think it added a lot of backstory. We find the Vorlons have been to Earth. The Vorlons are everywhere. They've been everywhere. So they're clearly more than a lot of people think of them, the mysterious Vorlon. Well, yeah, maybe there's more to that than the all of the people in the galaxy realize. But 9.0, yeah.
All right. Thanks for that loquacious final thoughts. Cam.
I like the Jakar storyline pretty well. I mentioned there's a few things that I'm wondering about, but I think it worked for the story. And the Garibaldi stuff I think was really good. That was the highlight of the episode for me. As I've said already, I don't think this, even though I think that there is a valuable nugget within the Inquisitor storyline, I think it was buried in. I'm going to be pretty negative. Say self-indulgent musings and trite representations. I really, really don't like it how it came across, and
you don't like the verbosity.
Well, it's not just that. It's I don't know. I think it for me, and I understand it, clearly you guys don't agree. It undercut what could have been impactful. So I really hate that when it's like, here, you're supposed to look at it this way, but I don't think it landed. I think he failed to. I understand what he was going for, and I don't think it landed, or it didn't land for me, at least. Let me put it that way. So it really dragged this episode down for me, and I am going to shock everyone by saying that I'm going to give this episode overall a 6.
I guessed it. I was thinking that in my head. Like, Cam, I knew it when I saw it. I'm like, Cam is going to give this episode a 6.
Well, you did a 9, so I just flipped it over.
Yeah. Turn that frown upside down, right?
What? Yeah. So.
All right.
Sorry, everyone.
I'm going to disagree with Cam on overall. I was a little bit disappointed in this episode after the sort of the high of last episode, which was very impactful. But after we discussed this, my thoughts about the episode, when we really dug into it, it raised it up. So I'm going to go over a little bit quick here. I like the Jakar aspect of it. That was well done. I thought the whole, hey, get me a note from my, wife and kid, and then I'll, go whole hog for you. That was a little bit weak on that, but the rest of it, I liked. I liked Jakar, the way he was portrayed, his threats, his even his stuff to Veer, which I kind of felt bad for Veer. He's like, Veer can't do nothing, but it was well done in character for Jakar. I like the whole aspect of it. Like I said, after we discussed it a lot, I initially thought that the Inquisitor thing was good, but our discussion of it raised my my opinion of it a little bit after we dug into it. I didn't have a trouble with the whole, if shit when Sebastian was Jack the Ripper. I didn't think, like PB mentioned in the thing, I focused on the message. It didn't really matter to me, where he was. I can understand why people, that he was a serial killer and he was Jack the Ripper. I can understand why people would, why Cam would say, hey, I don't like that aspect of it. But I just kind of look over it and just focused on the message. And I think, the message of know thyself, you must know who you are before you're, so that you can embark on this great thing that we have to do, which is going to be very taxing on you mentally, emotionally, physically. You're going to have to make important decisions. I think that's probably a reasonable thing. So I don't know if I'm going to, should I give this a number?
Yeah.
I think, 6 is a little bit low. 9's a bit high. I would say somewhere around, the 8 area if I had to give it a number. Better than I thought. Coming in, I probably would have given it a 7. After our discussion, it's raised up to, say, an 8 in my estimation. It's a pretty good episode, and I'm I think it's interesting to sort of come back and talk about it in detail and realize some things about it, and then go, hey, this is better than I thought. So
now also
appreciated that aspect of it.
Now, I said Wayne Alexander did a great job at doing this role. Now,
I'll agree with that.
He will be returning. He will be returning to the series, not as Sebastian, as another great character that's going to be coming into season 4. and it's going to be great that when you'll know it when you see him onto there. So it's like another great performance.
He really chewed up the scenery there, and he was very believable in his portrayal.
Oh, just wait for this part.
Good. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Cam mentioned it. Garibaldi. I thought that was a really great. He was barely in the episode, but that little aspect with him and Jakar was really well done.
Very powerful.
Very excellent little scene. The more I watch this show, at first season 1 we were talking about Garibaldi. And we're like, yeah, he's he was the strongest character right off the start in season 1, but we kind of took that away from him a little because we said, hey, he's got this very stereotypical character. He knows exactly what he needs to do, and he's fitting right into it. And
did Garibaldi do the right thing, or do the wrong thing for the right reasons?
Well, no. You're talking more about the aspect of the actor being able to,
Oh yeah, no.
And we kind of took it away from him a little bit because we said, okay, well, it's a very stereotypical character. It doesn't, it's easy for him. But that said, I mean, he's running this, this little scene, perfectly, just exactly what you'd think for Garibaldi.
He's my favorite human. Still is.
Good.
My favorite human.
He's raising up in my estimation a little bit.
In Hitchhiker's Guide, they say, when they say they're talking about certain characters, there's a line. There was one line in one of the characters that goes, this is a very interesting character, but we're going to learn more of his philosophy much later on. And that's Garibaldi. We still haven't learned everything about Garibaldi yet.
Yeah.
Wow. And yet we already feel like we know him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Shall we go to trivia?
Yeah.
Anything else? Anybody last minute? Anything else to say before we do quick trivia and let's wrap up the show? All right, let's do it. Okay, trivia questions for next week. Answers next week. What is Mr. Chase's occupation? What is the Inquisitor's means of punishing Delenn? Who first comes to try to rescue Delenn? To whom is the following quote spoken? Dead, 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 dead. And what is the last word spoken by the Inquisitor in the episode? I think we actually covered all of these.
We hinted at number 2.
Yeah.
I don't think we actually. Well, it depends on.
Pretty obvious.
Depends on.
I think we did.
I don't want to answer him, so we'll talk about him next week.
Yeah. We'll find out next week.
Oh, next week is a winner.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to watch that 4 times.
What do we have going on, real quick, gentlemen? What do we have going on, Madman, on your channel?
There will be no Taco Thursday next week because we're working on a major story for it. So basically, we'll switch into Monday live, Madman Cafe live, right on here, YouTube, X, and on Rumble, 8 p.m. Eastern. A lot of good talk. We'll be talking a little bit about the elections and some other pop culture things, including the Star Trek Kelvin line is gone. Supposedly, that basically Skydance is probably going to be scrapping it and looking for a new Star Trek.
All right. Jeff.
I had 2, not one, but 2 great episodes. Last Thursday on Sci-Fi for me, I got to interview Matthew Tapp from Burrows and Borderlands, as well as Griff Morgan, who did the documentary on the Secrets of Blackmore, and then Dave and George from Arduin. Well, they're from Emperor's Choice, who published Arduin. And then I had Griff again, so he double dipped, and I'm very, very thankful and grateful to him for doing that. We had a panel discussion with Griff and Roger Ripes from Central New York Con, and Griff Morgan does Arnicon up in Minnesota and Twin Cities there. And overall, yeah, they were both great. And if you haven't caught them, I know they're a little long. Just put them on and listen to them while you're driving or working or whatever the case. I'll drop a couple of links to them in the chat. But I think overall they went really well.
Yeah, drop those links.
Yeah.
Anything you coming up this week or soon? And that was last week. Anything coming up on your channel? Or
Well, I'm working on a couple of more things. We might make that the con jobs thing. Talk to Mr. Boss about it. We might try and make it not a every week or a weekly thing,
But a
but
regular thing.
would be a semi-regular thing. Yeah.
all right, good, awesome. All right, Cam.
Well, Sunday we have a show at 11 p.m. Eastern called Top Lofty Lounge, which I have no idea what we're doing.
It'll be about something.
Oh,
It's
it'll be
always about something.
Okay, great.
It's always about something.
Okay, well, that will be interesting, I'm sure. So please do tune in.
It'll be a surprise to everyone, even myself.
Yeah,
At
and
this
then
point in time,
next week at this time, we have the final episode of season 2, Babylon 5, Fall of Night.
Can't wait. That I'm anxious for that one, and I've got to. Like I said, I'm not kidding when I'm probably going to watch it 4 times because I'm going to watch it once to enjoy it, once to take notes, and then probably watch it at least 2 more times with the commentary because it's one of the commentary episodes. So see if I can glean some more behind the scenes information from the commentary.
Yeah, this one has a good. I've heard the commentary on the Fall of Night. It's a good. This one's a good one, Jeff.
Yeah.
all right. Okay, well, Cam covered everything. I'll just mention that we have a movie coming up soon. It's scheduled right now for the. Let me just check on my list here. The 23rd is scheduled for movie night, and vote on the Discord. Right now, Planet of the Apes is winning big time. So it looks like we might do that unless we have a bunch of people come in and swing the other way. Yeah, that's what's coming up. And then this week, as soon as I'll pick a topic, I will put it up. But we will have a show and we will talk about something. And it
You're
will
like
be
me.
science fiction related.
Wait until the last minute.
Yeah. And it'll be surprise. Yeah. And so remember to like and subscribe, everyone. It helps us out with the algorithm. We appreciate that. Yeah. And hopefully we'll see you next week for the big reveal of the final episode on this show. And the week after that, we will be on this show. We will be doing a wrap up of the season. We did it last for season 1, and it was very, very popular. People enjoyed it, and so we're going to try to do it again.
That was great.
Yeah, talk about
have some special guests on throughout.
Perhaps
episode,
we
maybe?
will. Yeah, and it should be even better since this season was better than season 1, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, that's it for the show. I am going to. I really like Madman's promo, so I'm going to play us out with the promo again, and then I will do the outro. So if you missed the promo at the beginning, you want to watch it, we'll do that first, and then the outro. Yeah, so
it's good.
That's it. All right, thanks everybody for coming. Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Repeat!
If you go to Zahadu, you will die.